This is absolutely the most terrifying issue of this entire series. Not because of the horrific things Sam does, but because of how normal Sam seems before she embraces her inner chaos. I mean, I was left speechless after reading this comic. So let's take a look. Of course, the cover for issue number 5 tells us immediately that something massive is in store for Sam. We've examined this cover before, but now having seen the events of issue number 4 play out, the image takes on far more weight. Sam is shown in prayer in the woods, her eyes closed, surrounded by the citizens of Woodbrook. We see Chip, Pauline, Melody, and even Cherry's husband, all staring at Sam with expressions of horror, as if they might finally know the truth. The image raises an important question. Is Sam praying for redemption? Or is this just another act meant to save face? Another performance designed to preserve the mask she's spent years maintaining? Knowing Sam, it's difficult not to assume the latter. Regardless, the cover makes one thing clear. Sam's time is limited. Despite her best efforts to escape suspicion, something is closing in. The inside cover takes us once again to Birdie's desktop, and Sam's face dominates nearly every open window on the screen. This alone suggests a few unsettling possibilities. Either Birdie already knows something about Sam, or he will eventually be the one to uncover the truth. Otherwise, why would Sam be featured so prominently here? And if you look closer, you can see leaves falling around her, which immediately calls back to the imagery on the front cover. It feels intentional, as if these two images are connected emotionally and thematically. Perhaps this is what Sam feels internally when we see her praying on the front cover. Perhaps it's the same moment, viewed through different lenses. In the partially obscured windows as well, ominous words are highlighted for us. Murder on small towns, killer, and murder. Even when hidden, the truth refuses to stay buried, and we can also see the date displayed on the desktop, April 27th, 1994. A small detail, but one that grounds everything in a specific moment in time. I think I was 7 years old at the time. Now, before we get into this one, I want to say this up front. Rite of Spring number 5 is not an easy issue to talk about. Not because it's confusing, not because it's messy, but because it fundamentally changes the shape of this story in ways that are impossible to walk back. This is the next to last chapter of this series, and you can feel that weight on every single page. Every quiet moment feels loaded. Every conversation feels like it's circling something dangerous, just out of frame. And once things start moving, there's no stopping them. And what makes this issue so effective is how patient it is. It lingers on routine, on small town rhythms, on people just trying to get through another day, all while something much darker is tightening its grip beneath the surface. There's a constant sense that everyone is standing in the wrong place at the wrong time. And that fact comes to the forefront with horrifying results. It creeps in slowly, the way dread does, until you suddenly understand that this story has been steering towards this moment for far longer than you realized. Patrick Horvath leans hard into this contrast. Calm conversations sit beside ominous narration. Mundane errands brush up against irreversible choices. And at the center of it all is Sam, still composed, still observant, still telling herself a story about control, even as the world around her begins to fracture. By the time we reach the final pages, the series has crossed a line it can never uncross, and understanding how it gets there is just as important as what actually happens. So does Monica begin to suspect Sam is something more? Is Sam able to maintain her persona in Woodbrook for one more issue? And who's left standing in the end? You won't believe it if I told you. You just have to see it for yourself. Now, as we jump into the story, nothing will prepare you for what this issue delivers. After finishing it, I was genuinely speechless. I didn't know what to think, and that's exactly why we're here, carefully exploring every panel and every choice. We open with Chip, the newsstand owner, starting his day. He opens the shutter, cuts open bundles of newspapers and magazines, and prepares for business like any other morning. Over these mundane actions, we hear Sam's narration, which immediately sets an ominous tone. She says, "There's a trap laying in plain sight for everyone to fall in. The precious notions of firsts and lasts, and there's almost no regard for the middle." On the surface, Sam is commenting on how people frame stories, and by extension, their own lives. We obsess over beginnings and over endings. Those moments feel meaningful because they're easy to label and easy to remember. But the middle is where life actually happens, and it's messy, it's repetitive, and it's uncomfortable. And Sam thrives right there in the middle. She understands that most people also relax there. Once the initial shock has passed and the final consequences haven't arrived yet, people get complacent. That's where routines form, where patterns go unquestioned, and where someone like Sam can exist unnoticed. The trap she's describing isn't dramatic, it's complacency. People assume danger announces itself at the beginning or reveals itself at the end, so they stop looking everywhere else. And this line foreshadows the structure of this issue itself. Rite of Spring number 5 is obsessed with middles, with moments that feel transitional, feel ordinary, or in progress, right up until they suddenly aren't. By the time people realize they've stepped into the trap, they're already too far in to step back out. Sam isn't warning anyone here. She's explaining the rules she's been playing by the entire time. The words feel heavy, foreboding, and perfectly aligned with where this issue is headed. And Sam continues, "So quick to lose these moments in the noise of our lives." In the panel, we see the cover of Scene magazine with the headline, "The New Wild West," a clear parody of Look magazine, referencing the growing influence of the internet and computers. Sam's narration then concludes, "But every part has a place in the story. Every bit of it, death defying." Based on the language here, there are big changes coming. In the next panel, Lewis walks past the newsstand and greets Chip. "Good morning, Chip. How's it going?" Chip responds, "Another day, another dollar. What's good, Lewis?" Lewis explains that he's on his way to Sam's hardware store. "I'm doing my work study again today. Samantha has me opening the shop this morning." "So we're getting a new highway?" And Chip replies, "Apparently so. Not that we need it." It's immediately clear that Chip isn't a fan of Woodbrook's expansion. He continues, "Woodbrook County is scared about being left behind. Even if it improves travel times, car fatalities are going to go way up for a while, I bet." And Lewis asks, "And we can stop it?" But Chip responds, "Apparently it's what the people want. Plane crashes, buildings collapsing, countries overthrown, toxic waste buried. People will accept a lot of death if it's for money or politics. It's all here in these pages. Every day something new." Chip's negativity is striking here, but it also feels disturbingly accurate for any small town expanding and growing and changing. That line underscores how easily violence becomes acceptable once its frame is necessary, profitable, or distant enough not to worry about. Chip isn't saying people actively want death, but that they are willing to tolerate it when it's justified by money or politics or expansion. When suffering is abstracted this way, it feels less urgent. The human cost becomes background noise, something people acknowledge without truly engaging with it. So what does that have to do with Woodbrook and Rite of Spring? Well, it closely mirrors the logic of this town's own blind spots. As long as things keep moving forward and the town appears stable, the cost is ignored. This same moral distance has allowed Sam to exist undetected for so long. The violence doesn't feel real until it's close, until it's personal, until it's impossible to explain away. And by the time that happens, the damage has already been done. This is why Sam refused to kill in Woodbrook. On the following page, Chip adds, "You know, way back when, they used to sacrifice people for a bountiful harvest. You have to wonder if we really left that behind." This is an unmistakable reference to Stravinsky's Rite of Spring, where sacrifice is necessary to restore balance. You know, I actually made a whole video about Stravinsky's Rite of Spring and how it relates to this comic series, and you can check it out in the description below. The dialogue here feels deliberate, because it is. This conversation is preparing us for what we're about to face later in this comic. It suggests that Woodbrook may require a sacrifice to change its course, to shift the fear gripping the town, and to finally break Nigel's lingering hold over it, or maybe even Sam's. So my question is, who holds on to Woodbrook in this way? And what kind of sacrifice will the town require? We then catch up with Sam and Monica driving through a wooden area in Sam's Bronco. And Sam explains, "There's quite a few pockets of forest that are maintained by the state, but there's a whole bunch surrounding it all that's pretty secluded." Monica responds, "By the look of it, Nigel was busy all over the area." A closer look at the map Monica is holding reveals marked locations, with dates scribbled beside them. We know these are the places that Nigel tracks Sam, but Monica doesn't, and that dramatic irony makes this scene even more intense. Monica then says, "There are several Class 4 roads that also lead into here, but who knows which one he took? You have something to write with? We should keep track of which ones we look at." Now, just to be clear, Class 4 roads are roads that are not maintained by the state in any way. Of course, this made it even easier for Sam to use these to dispose of the bodies of her victims. Sam replies, "It's so remote. I have a feeling he probably took the main road in." And Monica asks again, "No pen or anything?" And Sam says, "I've got some putt-putt pencils in the glove box." At this point, it's impossible not to wonder what Sam did with the pen she used to scribble out Nigel's note on the back of the map in the previous issue. There's no way she left it in the glove box. And sure enough, when Monica opens it, she says, "Jesus, Sam, this is the most boring glove box I've ever seen." And that's the way Sam wants it, controlling even the contents of her glove box for appearance's sake. Sam then adds, "Well, if you're looking for some fun, it seems we've got company after all." As we turn the page, Sam and Monica see a survey crew already clearing part of the forest, surveying the land for a new housing development. Sam stops the Bronco to take a look, and Monica reacts, "What are these bozos doing here?" But Sam speculates. Developments have been popping up all over the county. This will probably be some luxury gated community. And Monica asks, "So what now? We park down the road and hike in?" And Sam says, "Oh, I think we can get a bit closer before we have to hike." We get an ominous shot of Monica here looking at Sam through the rearview mirror, and her expression is hinting at suspicion. Everything has been adding up a little too conveniently here, though for now, the plan continues. Sam then drives the Bronco off the road and tells Monica, "Things might get a little messy, but we'll get there one way or another." Once again, the language is loaded with ominous intent. And if you think back to the original series with issue number 5, Sam found herself lying in the mud last time she decided to go off-road. The story then shifts abruptly to a dream sequence belonging to Pauline. We see her lying on a picnic blanket with Charlie, her husband who was killed by Nigel. It's a warm, intimate scene that would be comforting, if not for what we already know. Charlie says, Okay, I'll do a roller coaster, but only if I can close my eyes the whole time." Pauline calls him a weenie, and then adds, "That's cheating." But Charlie brushes it off before suddenly asking, "Hey Pauline, what if we get married?" And then this moment is shattered by a ringing phone. Pauline wakes up, puts on her glasses, and answers that phone. Now Pauline's dream sequence is supposed to be comforting for her, but for us, it really is heartbreaking. It shows us exactly what has been taken from her, without any noise or chaos that surrounds the rest of the story. The dream isn't dramatic, it's not surreal. It's simple, warm, and painfully ordinary. For a brief moment, Pauline gets to exist in a version of reality where none of the violence has happened yet, where Charlie is still alive, still teasing her, and still imagining a future with her. And the abrupt interruption of the dream by the ringing phone is just as important as the dream itself, too, in my opinion. There's no gentle transition back to reality, no easing out of the fantasy. Pauline is yanked awake, back to reality. The dream shows us what Pauline longs for, and what that loss is doing to her, setting up the tragic spiral that follows later in this issue. It parallels Woodbrook in more ways than one. Lewis is frantic, and he says, "Geez, Mom, you're still at home? I've been calling for half an hour. I'm at work, remember? I'm not there to wake you up. You're going to be so late for work." And we remember that in issue number 3, Pauline's boss warned her she'd be fired if she was late again. Pauline slurs her words as she replies, "Oh, no, this is okay, honey. I'm just heading out the door." A pill bottle rests on her nightstand. She stumbles into the bathroom, looks at herself in the mirror, and says, "Christ, Pauline, what are we doing?" We then cut back to Sam and Monica, now walking through the woods with a shovel and a metal detector. Monica says, "Okay, Jesus, this is going to take days to find." Sam offers some guidance, though, saying, "Well, what would make sense? Let's try to think like Nigel. You want to bury a body in the woods. Where would be easiest?" Yeah, think like Nigel. Then Monica responds, "Burying paint cans," and Sam agrees. Right, paint cans. He'd need somewhere flat enough and with some room. Monica points out a location and says, "Like over there?" And Sam says, "Let's give it a shot." The metal detector suddenly goes off when they get over there, and Monica exclaims, "Wait, I have something." And then the beeping intensifies. She says, "Here, dig here." Sam pushes the shovel into the ground and hits metal with a thunk. "I've got something," Sam says. As we turn the page, Monica kneels beside the hole, while Sam's narration resumes. In that moment, you could feel the shift, like a glacier melting. Monica lifts the paint cans from the ground and examines them. We can clearly see they are the same brand Sam sells in her store. And Monica asks, "I need a screwdriver." "Coming up," Sam says. In the next panel, we see a flash of Daniel Brewer, exactly as Monica last remembers him. Alive, breathing. How she pictures him in her mind. A memory she needs to hold on to at this very moment. Monica opens the paint can as Sam's narration concludes, collapsing into the sea. The composition is striking, with Monica framed in the panel as she looks down at the can, tears streaming down her face. She says, "There you are, Danny. What are you doing out here?" And as imposing as ever, Sam is standing behind her, smiling, clearly reveling in Monica's suffering, reveling in how this revelation will affect Monica. When Sam references a glacier in her narration, it's chilling in more ways than one. A glacier doesn't break all at once. It erodes over time, quietly and imperceptibly, until the moment it gives way. That mirrors what's happening to Monica here. This isn't just the instant she learns the truth about Daniel. It's the culmination of every suspicion, every buried fear, and every unanswered question finally becoming impossible to ignore. And what makes the line even more disturbing is what it reveals about Sam and how she experiences this moment. She isn't focused on Daniel or on the horror of what's been done to him. She's focused on the shift inside Monica. Sam is attuned to Monica's emotions the way others might be attuned to danger or empathy. The metaphor turns Monica's grief into a natural event, something vast and unstoppable. And in doing so, it strips the moment of its moral weight. For Sam, this isn't tragedy, it's a metamorphosis or a transformation. Watching Monica break is meaningful to her because it confirms that something irreversible has happened and that emotional destruction, not the physical act of murder, is what Sam finds most powerful. It's something she doesn't fully understand yet, but she can't take her eyes away from it. We cut back to Pauline, now scrambling to get to work. She drops her keys and mutters, "Oh God." She gets into her car and says, "I'm so late. Rich is going to fire me this time." Putting the car into drive, she pleads, "Please just get me there fast." She runs a stop sign while muttering, "Maybe they won't notice I'm late." Another driver honks and yells, "Hey lady, you're supposed to stop at a stop sign," as she blows through the intersection. Now, back in the woods, Sam and Monica continue pulling paint cans from the ground. Sam says, "I'll keep looking, but I think this might be it." Monica carries several cans back to Sam's Bronco, where we can see many have already been loaded up. While standing there, Monica studies Nigel's map again and notices the scribbles on the back. She mutters, what was he covering up?" You can almost make it out. She grabs a pencil from the glove box and scribbles over the area Sam previously obscured. Her eyes widen as the truth is revealed. Samantha's buried treasure, August 1985 to September 1986. This realization lands with brutal clarity. That's the moment the helper narrative collapses. Sam isn't just adjacent to the crimes, and she isn't another victim of Nigel. She's the constant. Monica's reaction isn't denial, it's immediate emotional certainty, and that certainty explodes into action. As Sam bends down to retrieve another paint can, she hears rustling behind her and says, "What took so long? I ended up finding another after all." She turns and sees a survey worker walking through the woods. She lets out a quiet, "Oh." The worker says, "Hey, I didn't realize anyone was back here. I'm pretty sure this is all private property." And Sam responds calmly, "I'd appreciate it if we could keep this between just the two of us." What? Sure, Sam. You're carrying paint cans filled with body parts through the woods. But sure, we can keep this just between us. Makes sense to me. What's your problem? The worker replies, "I'm sorry, but I should probably report all this. Are you burying paint cans?" Sam answers, "I'm digging them up," dropping one at her feet. She then asks, "Do you have a white truck?" And the worker replies, "Yeah, what? Hey, my truck." Turning the page, we see Monica driving the survey worker's truck. He yells, "What the hell are you doing?" And Monica screams out the window, "It's over, you psycho bitch. You put all of them here with Nigel, didn't you? And then you just toyed with me." This ties directly back to the toy metaphors from earlier issues. Sam smiles as her narration continues. It was like watching a flower blossom. The survey worker threatens Monica, yelling, "Lady, I'll pull you out of there with my own hands if I have to." Sam then swings the paint can and strikes him in the head. As he stumbles into the road bleeding, Sam's narration continues. There was something so freeing in that moment. I don't know that I've ever felt that way before. Monica then barrels forward in the truck shouting, "Stay out of my way," before hitting him, his body flying through the air. Now what Sam says here is revealing as well. She's describing Monica's breakdown, not as chaos or violence, but as something natural, even beautiful by comparing it to a flower. Sam frames Monica's rage and despair as the something she's been carefully nurturing. This isn't a loss of control in Sam's perspective. It's the successful completion of something she's been cultivating this entire series. And take the other things that she says about Monica as well, and it's even more disturbing. For the first time, Sam isn't suppressing herself, managing appearances, or playing a role in Woodbrook. She's witnessing raw emotional impact that she directly caused without needing to hide or explain it. In this moment, Sam finally feels aligned with her true self. And that sense of freedom is tied not to escape or survival, but through suffering, Monica's suffering. Monica becomes proof of Sam's handiwork being seen, and that recognition is what makes the moment feel transcendent to her. Sam kneels beside the dying man with a disturbing calmness about her. I was honestly hoping the body would slow her down, or at least make her veer off into a tree. She then watches him die without any remorse. But there was a part of me that was impressed that she didn't even take her foot off the gas. Sam climbs into her Bronco, and it felt the closest I'd ever come to actually connecting with anyone. We then cut back to Pauline, who has fallen asleep at a stop sign drugged. Drivers honk and yell, "Hey, let's go. It ain't going to turn green. Move it. Come on." Pauline wakes with a start and tells herself, "Get it together, Pauline. No more zonking out." Sam is genuinely enjoying herself here, and what she says reveals how completely Sam has reframed the situation in her own mind. It's chilling because of the admiration embedded in it. She's evaluating Monica's reaction almost like a performance. Monica's refusal to slow down becomes proof that Sam's manipulation has worked, that Sam emotionally destroyed Monica, that she manipulated Monica enough to override fear, to override caution, and to override self-preservation. Sam is seeing a version of herself reflected back at her, someone who leans into the chaos within her. Monica isn't a person in crisis to Sam. She's confirmation that the transformation Sam wanted to witness has fully taken hold. And for Sam, connection isn't built through knowing someone through everyday life. It's created through impact. It's the moment when another person's internal world is violently reshaped by her presence. She certainly experiences this as closeness. For perhaps the first time in her life, someone else is responding to her in a way that feels authentic and unfiltered, stripped of politeness, routine, and social performance. Monica's rage and emotions feels real to Sam because they're uncontrollable, and that rawness is what she's been missing in her carefully maintained life. On the next page, Monica speeds toward town in the survey truck with panic setting in. Sam follows close behind her. Monica looks back and says, "Okay, let's see if you can stop me." The panels cut between the two vehicles racing towards Woodbrook and approaching an intersection. The cutaway shots on this page with minimal speech heightens the thrill of this scene. All we can hear, and well see, is the roar of each of the car's engines. As we turn the page, a collision occurs, and we see now the purpose of the focus on Pauline throughout this series. Pauline crashes directly into Sam's Bronco as Monica speeds through the intersection unharmed. A few words about that day and the next. I had a good idea of how it was going to end, but I didn't really know how we were going to get there. Smoke pours from the wreckage as Sam clutches her head, and she continues. Watching her disappear down the road, it felt like the quiet end to a whole era. Paramedics arrive and treat Sam's minor injuries, while Pauline is loaded into an ambulance on a stretcher. None the wiser as to what actually led to this accident. Sam narrates, "When Pauline slammed into me, she was fast asleep. They said later that if she hadn't been so limp, she might have broken her back. I don't blame her though." That reflection captures Sam at her most self-aggrandizing, and it reveals how she processes events not as experiences, but as chapters in a story she is orchestrating. Sam is admitting that she never doubted the outcome. What she didn't know, and what genuinely interests her, is the path. The specifics of how things unfold matter more to her than the human cost, because she views herself as someone constructing the entire narrative. And Sam isn't thinking about the danger Monica is in or the chaos she's unleashed. She's marking an emotional milestone for herself here. An era ends not because lives have been destroyed, but because Sam feels something has been resolved internally. That calm finality is what makes this moment so unsettling. To Sam, this isn't the beginning of consequences. It's the completion of a cycle, the culmination of her narrative. Pauline cries out, "Oh God, I almost killed her. I'm so..." And the aftermath follows quickly. I never saw her again after that. And then a police officer gives Sam a ride home without mentioning Monica again, unaware of the real situation. It was a bit of a surprise when a deputy gave me a lift home and didn't mention a thing about Monica. Sam wonders, maybe she never told them. Maybe she did, and they wanted me to sweat a little, waiting for the other shoe to drop. That night, Sam lies awake, removes her bandages, and reflects. On that last day, you could feel that everything was changing. Felt like the whole town was getting so loud. Sitting at her dining room table, she sees ghostly visions of her parents sitting across from her, dissected and staring back blankly. It was hard to hear yourself think. This echoes when Sam saw the ghosts of her victims, Daniel Brewer included, when she was on the run in the first series. Her world is closing in, and her crimes are manifesting themselves around her. That line captures Sam's heightened awareness at the moment when her carefully controlled world finally starts to fall apart. After the thrill of seeing Monica, what is left but the culmination of pressures that can no longer be contained? It isn't literal noise, it's emotional volume, secrets surfacing, routines breaking, people asking questions, and patterns no longer holding together. For someone like Sam, who has survived by blending into Woodbrook, that rising noise feels threatening and exhilarating at the same time. Weirdly, she doesn't say she changed things, only that she could feel them changing. That distancing allows her to preserve the illusion that she's observing a natural shift rather than actually causing it. But the loudness of the town is the result of her presence finally becoming impossible to ignore. Woodbrook has been quiet because it's been compliant, it's been uncurious, and willing to look away. I mean, all of their attention was on Nigel at this point. As that silence is about to collapse, Sam senses that the environment she's relied on can't go on existing. The town isn't just louder, it's awake. And that awareness marks the moment where Sam understands that the era of hiding in plain sight is truly over. The next morning visually mirrors the opening of the original series as Sam walks towards her hardware store. All these things you hold on to, not wanting anything to change. But you take a look around and realize it's already happened. She opens the front door and is immediately confronted by Sheriff Patterson. "Oh, good morning, Sheriff," Sam says, acting as if absolutely nothing is wrong. He says, "Not so good, Sam. I'm placing you under arrest for the murder of Daniel Brewer. And by the looks of it, many, many more." Sam begins, "If this is because," but the sheriff cuts her off. "Sam, I don't want to hear it. This whole thing is a mess, and you've been playing this whole town for fools." Monica then steps forward and shouts, "You can cut the act. You can't talk your way out of this. It's over. Don't you know that they can test DNA? They have the map. They can find every one of those paint cans from your store, filled with people you murdered." So the game is up. Sam knows at this point the persona she's built in Woodbrook is about to come crashing down. Outside, Lewis and Chip walk down the sidewalk, and Lewis asks, "Hey Chip, what are all these patrol cars doing at the shop?" "I don't know, but I haven't seen something like this since..." He stops himself and asks, "Oh, how's your mom doing? I'm surprised you're not at the hospital." Lewis responds, "She's really banged up, but so far they say she'll be okay. I mean..." After realizing what is going on, Chip interrupts him. "Maybe it's better if you don't go to work today." Back inside, Sam says quietly, "But wasn't this all settled?" She removes a bag from her shoulder, and the perspective shifts beneath the counter, revealing the button and the switch. "Can't we just talk a bit and sort this all out?" But the sheriff replies, "Sam, you've got to come with us." Monica steps forward again. "I'll drag you out of there with my own hands." Sam reaches beneath the counter as the deputy shouts, "Keep those paws where we can see them." The sheriff calms him down, saying, "Gibbs, cool it. Everybody just take it down a notch. And Miss Brewer, it's a courtesy you're not in cuffs. We still have a whole other mess we need to sort out with you." And what happened next left me speechless. And then all hell breaks loose. Sam pulls out a gun and shoots Sheriff Patterson in the head without hesitation, with a look of indifference on her face. Everyone is stunned into silence. They can't fathom the person they've known all these years just did the unthinkable. And before anyone can react, she reaches under the counter and presses the button. Shotguns mounted in the ceiling fire in unison, mowing down each and every deputy. It's shocking, and it's brutal, and it reveals that this was Sam's contingency plan all along. And the shotgun shells she kept on a shelf in the back of her store from issue number 2 finally make their appearance. Then chaos spills out into the street as bullets fly from the store. One strikes Chip in the neck directly in front of Lewis. "Someone's shooting, run!" Chip collapses as Lewis kneels beside him, crying, "Oh no, oh God, somebody please help me." Inside, Monica grabs a shovel and swings it at Sam, but Sam easily overpowers her, slamming her head into a shelf and knocking her unconscious. Lewis has been subjected to an almost relentless string of traumatic events, and the shooting of Chip in front of him adds another to the list of everything he's already endured. He has already lost his father to Nigel's violence. His mother is gravely injured in a car wreck, and his sister has moved away to college, leaving him isolated in the very community that's supposed to feel familiar and feel safe. How much more can one guy bear? However, while this is horrific, this moment could serve as a catalyst for a shift for his character in the next issue. Lewis might be the one to take Sam down, or maybe he could become withdrawn or disillusioned, emotionally scarred by the repeated loss of those he loves, potentially setting up a darker, more cynical future for him, where he struggles with trust and with his morality. Either way, this event marks a turning point for Lewis. Lewis can no longer be passive here. He has been forced into direct contact with the brutality that defines Woodbrook yet again, and the consequences of that exposure are likely to define the events in issue number 6. At least I hope so. And then on the final page, Sam hoists Monica onto her shoulder and carries her through the center aisle of the store. It was just a matter of time before the world came crowding in. The best thing you can do in a moment like that is to stand up and face it. She reaches the back door, her expression filled with resolve. Deal with it on your own terms. There might not be a place for me in all of this like before, but if I can't stay in Woodbrook, maybe nobody should. Sam flips several switches on the wall, and flames erupt throughout the store. The issue ends with the bodies of the deputies lying dead on the floor as fire consumes everything. I am floored. This is subversion of expectations at its finest. Sam isn't running anymore. She's burning it all to the ground. Sam's narration here represents the final culmination of her own worldview. Sam is acknowledging something she has always known but refused to accept. That her carefully constructed routines, her personas, and contingency plans could only delay the inevitable, not prevent it. And what about Monica? Why did Sam kidnap her, and what is Sam going to do to her? It doesn't make sense that Sam would kill Monica immediately. That runs counter to what I think makes sense with this narrative. Maybe Sam took her as a final trophy of some kind. I guess we'll find out soon. And the world crowding in isn't just law enforcement or what people in Woodbrook think. It's consequence itself. Rather than fear this inevitability, though, Sam faces it down as a moment of clarity. Sam's version of facing it is not confession, it's not accountability, or even surrender. It's escalation. She refuses to be acted upon. She wants to stay in control. Instead, she acts first, violently and decisively. This is how Sam maintains control even at the point of collapse. Facing the world, for her, means denying it the power to define her ending, or what happens next. Every murder, every manipulation and every plan has been about control from the very beginning, about ensuring that the story unfolds according to Sam's design. It doesn't matter what happens in the middle, but Sam will always make sure she writes the beginning and the ending. Sam puts her leaving Woodbrook on the same level as a catastrophe. Woodbrook can't exist anymore. She almost looks at it as something she orchestrated from the beginning. And that's some next level narcissism. If she cannot exist within Woodbrook, then Woodbrook itself has failed and deserves to be erased. This isn't revenge in a conventional sense. It's entitlement taken to its most extreme conclusion. Sam doesn't just want to escape consequence. She wants to take the entire world that rejected her down with her, burning her store, and based on the cover of issue number 6, maybe the town. In her mind, this is the final act of authorship, ensuring that even in defeat, she decides what remains. She controls the ending. Rite of Spring number 5 is one of those issues that doesn't just escalate the story. It reaches new heights that few comics have ever come close to before. Everything that's been simmering beneath the surface finally breaks through. And by the final page, Woodbrook no longer feels like a place that can put it all back together. This chapter forces us to re-examine Sam, not just as a character, but as a force that has been shaping this world from the very beginning. And it sets the stage for a finale that feels genuinely unpredictable. I can't imagine where we go from here, but I will say that this issue is the most compelling issue of this entire series. If you enjoyed this video and want more deep dives and comic book analysis like this, be sure to like this video, subscribe for future breakdowns, and let me know in the comments what Rite of Spring number 5 made you feel as we head into the final issue. Thanks for watching, and I'm just going to say right here that March 4th can't come soon enough.